Interesting, because for me, I guess if they're talking about bone structure, sure. But I tend to like it whenever people have imperfections on their faces. Like, I like if people have, like, beauty marks or scars. Studies such as this one, published in the Journal of Comparative Psychology, and this one published in the Journal of Evolution of Human Behavior, have shown that in experimental conditions, men and women both prefer faces that are more symmetrical. Interesting, because for me, I guess if they're talking about bone structure, sure. But I tend to like it whenever people have imperfections on their faces. Like, I like if people have, like, beauty marks or scars. Let's see, a study on identical twins found that the twin with a more symmetrical face was considered more attractive. Interesting. Huh. People consider symmetry, like, good genes and whatever, but, like, I don't think there's actually an existing human being with a perfectly symmetrical face, because typically I think it's either the right side. It's either the right or the left. Duh, there's no other side. But I think it's the right side of the face that typically the facial features are a bit bigger than the left, because I know that when people with, like, their hair, typically I believe the right side is typically fuller than the left side, or it varies, I believe, on what side you tend to sleep on. But for me, I know that the right side of my hair is thicker than the left side of my hair. And I think the right side of my face is bigger than the left side. Because the thing is with me, like, when I was a kid, actually, believe it or not, up until I was maybe, 11, I had monolids. And then, yeah, it's kind of interesting, isn't it? Being a mixed race Asian white kid. But so when I got older, I got double eyelids apparently. But, like, there was a period of time when my right eyelid was significantly bigger than my left. Like, my left would sometimes, like, fold back into a monolid sometimes. But, like, there's always going to be asymmetry, whether it's more obvious or not. I don't think there's somebody with a perfectly symmetrical face. If there is, please find me it and tweet us. Because I know that there's, like, that, I don't know what it's called, but it's like the perfect face, like, diagram thing, and people, like, will, like, filter that over people to see how symmetrical their faces are. I remember someone did that to Jensen Ackles. That is a fine man right there. But I don't remember if it was because he's just symmetrical or if it's just because he's fine. But, yeah. So Jensen Ackles. Anyways, that's so funny because the second most, I guess, likable physical trait on somebody is asymmetry.
Bruh.
So people go for symmetry over asymmetry first. Interesting. It's not an absolute rule, though. In fact, you can probably think of many celebrities you fancy who don't have symmetrical faces at all. Then they start talking about, like, crooked smiles and everything. Didn't Elvis Presley kind of talk out the side of his mouth? That's an asymmetrical thing. And then, Marilyn Monroe had, like, a mole on one side of her face. That's asymmetrical. And she was considered the most beautiful woman to exist at times. Who else? I don't know exactly if this man was ever considered, like, beautiful, so to say. But, just because, again, I am an avid David Bowie fan, he had heterochromia. So, for those of you who don't know what heterochromia is whenever your eyes are two different colors. So that's a thing. I think that honestly is really cool. Like, especially looking at dogs, huskies. If huskies have heterochromia, I'm like, yes. And then I believe Australian shepherds also have heterochromia a lot. Anyways, back to people, not dogs. But I don't know. I think asymmetry kind of makes someone more charming. If you have a symmetrical face and you're beautiful, then that's incredible, honestly. But for me, I don't know. I like looking at small traits on people that stand out, I guess. For me, I have a scar on my left cheek, actually. It's probably not visible on camera. Probably not. But I have a scar on my left cheek from when I scratched myself in the womb as a child. I was born that way. But yeah, so I have a scar on this side. A lot of people I know actually have facial scars, or they got, like, beauty spots or whatnot. And I find that really charming on people's faces. So I tend to prefer asymmetry.
Ladies and gentlemen, did you enjoy that content? If you did, there is more. Please download the full podcast on Spotify as well as Apple Podcasts. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dive Studios. Don't forget to turn notifications on to hear and see all your favorite clips as fast as possible.